WrestleMania 41 is already ruined. At least that's the narrative that I'm seeing from many wrestling fans online after Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair both won the Royal Rumble matches. But could WrestleMania 41 actually be ruined? Yes, the answer is yes. I've seen WWE ruin WrestleManias before. They are absolutely capable of it. So in today's video, I wanted to dive into the psyche, the mind of the internet wrestling community, because I put out the question, what would ruin WrestleMania 41 in your eyes? So we're gonna go through many of your answers. I'm gonna analyze them and probably roast a bunch of them too. We do these every once in a while, so make sure that you're following me on X over there. The link is in the description. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm really confident that you're gonna fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And don't forget, if you want even more daily wrestling content, come over to patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, you're gonna get so much more extra content that we can never upload here to YouTube because of YouTube's copyright guidelines. So go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, as well as a link in the pinned comment. All right, let's get to your answers. Gunther and Jey Uso main eventing and being a horrible match. This match has a tremendous hill to climb to get people excited for it. And two, there is so much pressure for this match to actually be good. And I feel like there's pressure from both parties, from Gunther, because this is his first WrestleMania main event caliber match, and I don't think that he wants to disappoint. And then Jey Uso, of course, this is his make or break moment. This is where he can walk out being a star, and there is still a lot of that stink from last year's WrestleMania 40 dud against Jimmy Uso as well. This would sting. I legitimately believe that this would be a major sore spot in WrestleMania 41 if the Jey Uso Royal Rumble victory is used on a terrible match. Whether Jey Uso wins or not, the match really needs to be good, because one of the complaints that I have about this match existing in the first place is that the previous matches haven't been particularly amazing. They haven't been bad, but not good enough where I've been clamoring for it to be on a main event stage like WrestleMania. Now, I don't know that this would ruin WrestleMania, but it would definitely leave a sour taste in my mouth and in the mouth of many people if the Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso, goes on to have a stinker of a match like he did last year. So I desperately hope that this is a fantastic match in a great WrestleMania moment. Gunther beating Jey again would ruin WrestleMania for me. Not to the same magnitude, but it would feel like Brock beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34. The trigger should have been pulled here, and it should have been pulled back then. WrestleMania 34. I talked about how WWE is absolutely capable of ruining WrestleManias. WrestleMania 34 is a prime example of how WWE is capable of doing it. And yeah, one of the big sore spots of WrestleMania 34 was the main event was a lose-lose situation for fans, where it was Brock Lesnar, a part-time champion that never showed up with the championship belt, versus Roman Reigns, the guy that nobody wanted to see be champion. But at the very least, we would have wanted Roman to win because, well, at the very least, he would be on the show with the belt. And they didn't pull the trigger on Roman. They kept the belt on Brock, and it was a terrible idea. And I feel like this is not quite the same, in my opinion. I understand the notion that you feel like they need to pull the trigger now, just like they needed to pull the trigger then, but I don't think that people would be pissed off with a champion, a winner Gunther, like they would be, like they were when Brock Lesnar kept the belt. More than anything, I feel like Jey needs to win to solidify this main event run. If he loses here, I'm never gonna take Jey Uso seriously again as a main eventer. This is it. Like, Jey Uso is winning. He absolutely needs to win. If he loses here, it will be such a fart in the wind. It'll be just such a forgettable run for Jey Uso in the main event scene. Cena versus Logan happening at WrestleMania. I take it at any other PLE, but not Mania. So by the way, over 100 people sent this in. They do not want Logan Paul versus John Cena. And unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that I really believe that that match is very much firmly on the table as a strong possibility. Listen, if Cena doesn't win the Elimination Chamber, this is happening. You're going to get this. So if this many of you do not want to see John Cena versus Logan Paul, then then I better see your asses cheering for John Cena to win this freaking match. Look, if Cena doesn't win Elimination Chamber, what's the play? I don't even think that we have enough time to do a Intercontinental Championship thing because it looks like Braun Breaker is busy with AJ Styles, which is a great program that I don't really want to see John Cena ruin. So if not going after the title, then I think that the best available option, whether you like it or not, and many of you do not like it, is probably going to end up being John Cena versus Logan Paul. Listen, I don't mind the idea of John Cena versus Logan Paul. As you mentioned here, I wouldn't mind it at any other PLE. I wouldn't mind it at WrestleMania. I mind it at John Cena's last WrestleMania, however. This would suck ass. I don't want to see it, but again, I don't want to just get blinders on and try and make myself believe that it's not going to happen, because I believe there is a strong chance that it does. So if this is the make or break for WrestleMania for you, whoo, man, WrestleMania as a whole, WrestleMania 41 is teetering on the edge of becoming ruined, as what this video entails. Logan Paul versus CM Punk. I might cry real tears if my GOAT's first Mania back is against Logan. Not only were you guys very much against the idea of Logan Paul versus John Cena, many of you were very much emphatically against the idea of Logan Paul versus CM Punk, and Logan Paul against pretty much anybody at WrestleMania. Listen, I feel like Logan Paul versus CM Punk is far less likely. When I saw that interaction between them on the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw, it didn't scream like, yeah, they're trying to set something up here. That was such a surface level conversation. It barely even created any tension between them going into Elimination Chamber, much less WrestleMania. So I feel like this isn't even anywhere near on the same table of possibility as Logan Paul versus John Cena. So I feel like those that would have their WrestleMania experience ruined by Logan Paul versus CM Punk, I feel like you can breathe easy. If John Cena doesn't compete for a world title, it would be so cool to have John Cena compete for a world title. I'm not married to the idea that he needs to win. I kind of like the notion of him failing, of him struggling to get to this 17th marker before he fully calls it a career. I would just love to see him get an opportunity for the world title at WrestleMania. I would have loved the idea of him versus Gunther, because Gunther is just the quintessential perfect heel for John Cena, and vice versa. John Cena is the perfect type of babyface that somebody like Gunther would loathe and absolutely despise. But there's still a chance. There's still a possibility that this happens. We have Elimination Chamber a couple of weeks from now. He is the betting favorite on pretty much any gambling site that you look on, so I like the odds, and clearly so does the casinos. I think the reason why this would really damage this WrestleMania is because, like I said, if not the world title, it's probably Logan Paul. It's already ruined without the final boss. You know what's funny? Because last year's WrestleMania was ruined because the final boss made an appearance and tried to take that WrestleMania spot from Cody Rhodes. So it's just so funny how things and perceptions of The Rock just sort of go through ebbs and flows, and people love him and people hate him. Listen, I really felt like The Rock was going to be at this WrestleMania. In fact, I felt like it needed The Rock at this year's WrestleMania. I was married to it. Like, this is what needs to happen. We need to do The Rock versus Roman. Great follow-up after WrestleMania 40, but we weren't able to make it happen, at least not as of the making of this video. There's no indication that we're getting The Rock. But when I look at the landscape of things that are possible without The Rock, I like what we have. So for me, I'm not salty about the idea of not having The Rock. It would have been nice. If Jey versus Gunther doesn't have a stipulation to it, we need blood leaking and flesh torn to end this feud with a much needed banger. So I'm not somebody that's like bloodlusted. I'm not always like in need of color, in need of blood in my wrestling matches, but I do like the idea of having a stipulation. It's something I've already said in this video and in several videos before this, is that Jey versus Gunther isn't particularly like appealing because we've seen their matches and they haven't been great. Again, not bad, just not great. And I think that it could be made great with a stipulation, maybe, perhaps. That could get us a bit more interested, at the very least, from the in-ring affair that is Gunther versus Jey Uso. Logan Paul in a main event of WrestleMania. So this, I don't think, is on the table anymore. And you have to thank Jey Uso, because Jey Uso picking Gunther means that the winner of Elimination Chamber gets the Night 2 main event against Cody Rhodes. And I just don't think the WWE is going to give that spot to Logan Paul. Now, had Jey Uso picked Cody Rhodes instead, and the prize for the Elimination Chamber winner was Gunther, then now all of a sudden, the notion of Logan Paul winning and main eventing against Gunther, at least night one, was very much on the table, but I don't think it's a possibility anymore. This match, don't get me wrong, it will be a great great match, but the story is Seth versus Roman. It's this generation's Rock versus Austin, and it's the perfect time to have them finally have the long-awaited WrestleMania match. So if the triple threat match does happen, I'm in. I'm down. But I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of down for the idea of using CM Punk somewhere else to beef up a different storyline, a different feud, to give us another main event caliber storyline and match at WrestleMania. And let's just let Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns do their thing, because out of these three, sure, there's long-standing history between all three of these guys, but the history between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns absolutely dwarfs any of the history that CM Punk has with any of these guys. And yeah, I would love for these guys to actually have their one WrestleMania match, what we haven't gotten, what we never got out of a Cena versus Randy Orton, what we never got out of a Cena versus Edge. Let's make it happen. I'm down for this. I don't think that it would ruin Mania if it ends up being a triple threat, but again, I like the idea of using Punk somewhere else. Dude, I cannot believe he wrestled with that. Oh my God. NXT. Oh my God. Okay, that's insane. Nah, man, that's way too high. Oh. Good God. Dude, I forgot how nasty that was, actually. That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at Torn Pec Cody Rhodes going up against Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell 2022. The amazing Ruthless Aggression triple threat match between The Undertaker, The Rock, and Kurt Angle at Vengeance 2002. A Ring of Honor classic between Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, and Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins, back in 2008. The real-life grudge match that involves affairs and whatnot between Matt Hardy and Edge at Unforgiven 2005 in a steel cage. And the Payback 2023 classic between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day in a Steel City street fight. You're going to be getting this and more, like the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else, the currently ongoing Undertaker WrestleMania match watch along, and the currently ongoing Royal Rumble match watch along as well. These are all pieces of content that we can never upload here to YouTube because of YouTube's copyright guidelines, making it just simply impossible for us to ever make it available here. So please go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap. I'm confident that if you try it even for just 1 month, that you're going to fall in love with the insane amounts of content that we upload there every single day. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support, but let's get you back to the video. If The Rock isn't involved in any capacity other than facing Roman, if he doesn't have the time to do the match, then I don't want him there. This odd scheduling has honestly hurt the product. So I actually agree that The Rock's weird schedule, the will he, won't he appear, has damaged the product, not like significantly, but like, for example, look at Bad Blood. The ending of Bad Blood was, in my opinion, kind of tarnished by The Rock because his whole appearance was the reason why CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre didn't main event. So right there, it kind of damaged the flow of that entire PLE. And it's also damaging the expectations of wrestling fans who are waiting for The Rock, but also wanting to give up on The Rock. It does create a bit of frustration, but you're right. If The Rock comes back and it's not against Roman Reigns, count me out. Look, maybe not out entirely. I'm sure I'd still get behind it, but The Rock's odd schedule makes it so that if you have the opportunity to do The Rock versus Roman Reigns, just do it. Don't think about it because we might never get the opportunity to actually do it. Lyra not defending her Intercontinental Championship. There is a need to ensure the belt starts to feel important and it can't be missed. Okay, so I'm going to add to this. I feel like we need the US title and the Intercontinental Championship in there as well. Obviously, the absence of either of these mid-card titles won't hurt WrestleMania, but I do think it will hurt this division, and I do believe that if you add this division to WrestleMania with the right match and the right storyline, it can make WrestleMania much better. I think this is a situation where WrestleMania doesn't necessarily need the women's mid-card titles, but the women's mid-card titles need WrestleMania, as you said, to ensure that the belts get started off on the right track. If they start off immediately missing WrestleMania, oof, that's a tough road to recover from. John Cena losing at WrestleMania. Oh, this one would hurt. This one would hurt. Seeing John Cena sitting on the stage like WrestleMania 28 when he lost to The Rock. Back then, it was a different feeling because we knew that he was the franchise, that he was going to be back bigger, stronger than ever, and he absolutely was. But him losing in his last WrestleMania ever, that same imagery would cut so much deeper. And the fact that it would cut so deep is what leads me to believe that they're probably going to do that. John Cena losing in his last WrestleMania would elicit such a raw emotion from so many people that it's almost like the thing they should do, even though I don't want it. Charlotte winning the title, regardless of which she chooses. Once again, we come back to the everlasting line of death taxes and Charlotte Flair winning everything when she comes back from injury. WrestleMania 38 was one of those where we're like, there's no way that Charlotte should go in and beat Ronda Rousey, and she beats Ronda Rousey. She makes Ronda Rousey tap, and that sucked ass. Here's the thing, you should just always expect Charlotte Flair to win. If you just always expect Charlotte Flair to win, then when she does win, it doesn't damage things. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't make things worse because it was already what you were expecting to be on your plate. But if you aren't expecting Charlotte Flair to win and she does win, it'll ruin the whole dish for you. So just go in with the expectation that Charlotte's going to win. It's the safest bet. I think a Karrion Kross match where he gets the win is a must for me. The work that he has put in deserves an actual WrestleMania moment this year. They tried to give him a WrestleMania moment last year. They tried to make that tag team match special with Bubba Ray Dudley as the special guest referee with Snoop Dogg on commentary. At the very least, WWE tried to fluff up that mess that was the Pride versus the Final Testament. But I would love to see Karrion Kross to get his own match here at WrestleMania, and I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being with somebody like Sami Zayn. But if it is against Sami Zayn, I wouldn't expect Karrion Kross to win, brother. Cena winning the WWE Championship at Mania. No reason for him to get it in Vegas when his whole retirement tour will most likely be built around him going for 17. Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about this. I do believe that there is a strong narrative that can be told and a lot of value in having Cena continue to chase and continue to fail time after time after time, and then the clock starts ticking, and then when the clock starts ticking, Cena starts becoming desperate, and a desperate person does some pretty dastardly things. All I'm saying is that if he does lose at WrestleMania, that we could be in for a real treat of a story of John Cena being desperate and chasing 17 later on in the year. I'm honestly good whether he loses or wins at WrestleMania. Having Bianca lose her WrestleMania streak against Jade would be dumb. I love Jade, but Bianca should win the first match at Mania. Maybe this feud culminates at SummerSlam where Jade can solidify herself with a victory over Bianca Belair. I keep forgetting that Bianca Belair is on a little mini Undertaker streak there. Yeah, she is undefeated at WrestleMania, and I do believe she has enough WrestleMania matches under her belt where it's getting to be noticeable now. I do believe that if Jade Cargill comes back as a powerful heel and it is a match against Bianca Belair, I'm having a hard time seeing a world where Bianca wins that. And if she does win it, I'm having a hard time seeing how that doesn't hurt Jade Cargill. And because I do believe that if they were to have a match, that it would damage Jade Cargill severely, I really believe that if they have a match, that Jade Cargill's going to win. Not having a ladder match for the tag team titles, it's the key to finally boosting those championships. I disagree. We had a ladder match last year, and that didn't boost shit. I would rather the tag teams have a meaty storyline. If that ends up in a ladder match, sure. But I don't think that we just need to say, all teams ladder match, just like we did last year. I feel like it's better if we can tell narratives, stories, develop characters like SmackDown is very much doing. And if that makes sense at the end of the road to do a multi-team ladder match with those teams that have developed a story, then I'm down. But I think the most important thing is to create a division that is actually healthy and sustainable. Cena versus Cody main eventing night 2. Cena hasn't put on a good match in 7 years, and we don't even know if he can go for more than 10 minutes straight, especially if we get this new overacting version of Cena. That match would be carried by the chance of 17. So a couple of things here. I do believe that the fact that it's going for the 17th, that would carry the match a lot. Just the notion that there is a big prize, a big history-making moment, potentially at the end when that bell rings, is going to do a lot to drum up excitement for a potential John Cena versus Cody Rhodes match. I disagree when you say that Cena hasn't had a good match in the past 7 or so years. I really believe that crazy match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2021 was really, really good. But I also get what you're saying. Overacting Cena isn't necessarily the best. This isn't going to be the best version of John Cena. It's definitely going to be carried a lot by nostalgia. It's going to be carried a lot by the stakes. But hey, nostalgia can be a huge driver. Just look at The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. I believe that they can put on a good match. I really do want to believe that they can put on a good match. And if it does happen, I'm here for the ride. Not just because I'm biased as a John Cena fan, but because I want it to be successful and good. If they gave Sheamus another Intercontinental Championship title and he lost again. Okay, the second that Sheamus gets a WrestleMania Intercontinental Championship match, he has to win. It's kind of the same boat as Jey Uso. It's fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, can't get fooled again type of thing. I need Sheamus to finally win if he gets a big opportunity like WrestleMania. It would kind of suck ass if he gets another opportunity at WrestleMania only to lose again. I don't think that this would ruin Mania, but this would kind of hurt Sheamus a lot in my opinion. Having a Liv versus Rhea return, if Liv somehow does win the Elimination Chamber, they need to make it a triple threat match. And I would add Io into the mix since she has the issues with both women. Dude, the internet would legitimately fucking riot if they run Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley vanilla just like that, because that was one of the big pieces of complaints that so many fans had throughout Liv Morgan's championship run, was that we only ever got to see anything between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. If they do decide to have Liv Morgan win the Elimination Chamber, they better add Io Sky to it. Otherwise, people are gonna fucking groan at the notion of having to run Liv versus Rhea again. I legitimately think that the only way that they could, quote, ruin the entire show is if The Rock shows up again and forces his way into the WrestleMania main event. Other than that, I don't think it's possible to ruin the whole event with any other booking decision. So I have to laugh at this because this is literally what happened last year, and it ended up being one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, one of the greatest buildups. The Rock comes back, forces himself into the main event. Sure, they retconned it and gave Cody his main event back, but The Rock still got himself into the WrestleMania Night 1 main event. If this were to happen again, if The Rock makes another comeback like this, brother, I'm down, because the blueprint for what they did with this last year was so amazing that I think it could only make WrestleMania better. I don't see it happening, and I definitely, when The Rock comes back, I don't see them doing the exact same formula, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, brother. Santi not oiling up. I disagree. If I were to oil up, I feel like everyone's eyes would probably fall out of their eyeballs with how beautiful of a majestic vision that would be, that you wouldn't even be able to watch WrestleMania 41, thus ruining your experience of WrestleMania 41. So trust me, you don't want me to oil up. It's far, far too sexy. Drew McIntyre being wasted in a singles match with nothing to show for it. Yes, him versus LA Knight could give us some fantastic promo battles leading up, but after his 2024, he deserves to be fighting for a title. I mean, I kind of agree with you, especially seeing just how good of a year Drew McIntyre had. He is the WWE Superstar of the Year in many accounts in 2024, so to see him fall to a meaningless singles match against a Damian Priest that nobody wants to see, or running against LA Knight compared to where people believe he should be, just seems to be such a major step down, even if it does end up being entertaining. I don't think that this would ruin Mania, but it would definitely sour a lot of people that they're not using their best superstar of 2024 in a way that is conducive of what the best superstar should be getting at the WrestleMania immediately following his best year ever. Average match quality throughout. While I would like certain people to win, that doesn't affect my enjoyment because a win/loss usually furthers a story. But I really want the matches on the biggest show of the year to either be extremely fun, like Sami Zayn versus Knoxville, or a banger. I feel like this is a very reasonable take. I disagree when you say that match results can't ruin a show. I emphatically disagree. Like I said earlier, WrestleMania 34 having Brock win just made absolutely no sense and made that night significantly worse. But I also believe that even a weird result can be mitigated by having a banger match or a really fun match, as you're saying. To me, the best case scenario is obviously great results, but the most important thing is awesome matches. Because you can get the results that you want in every match, but if every match sucks ass, I don't think anybody's going to sit here and tell us that that was a great WrestleMania. CM Punk not main eventing WrestleMania. He deserves to main event on the back of an amazing feud with Drew McIntyre in 2024, helping OG Bloodline win War Games and his match against Seth on WWE Raw Netflix premiere. If Punk main events WrestleMania and a title is involved, he should win it. I love the idea of CM Punk being in the main event, considering that's been like his driving narrative over the last several months, wanting to get that thing that he's never gotten, that WrestleMania main event. We've already had it numerous times where former WrestleMania main eventers have roasted Punk about the fact that they've main evented WrestleMania and CM Punk hasn't. So to me, you gotta have CM Punk in one of the main events, whether it's night 1 or night 2. I want to see that as well. If they don't book Sami versus Kevin Owens for WrestleMania, that'll be such a waste of a good feud. I think it's not going to happen at WrestleMania. I think it ends up happening at Elimination Chamber, two Canadian boys in front of a Canadian crowd. I mean, the story just writes itself. And I feel like Kevin Owens has a direction with Randy Orton at WrestleMania, most likely. So if this is what's going to ruin Mania for you, not having this, you could probably count your WrestleMania ruined already, bud. Nothing. I'm excited. I wanted to end it on a good note because all of this has just been so goddamn toxic and negative. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.